My son wrote, "Don't expect us for Christmas 2025. We're going to my wife's parents. They're more important." I didn't respond. I just closed all his accounts. The next morning, he appeared at my doorstep. "I'm glad you're here with me. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end and let me know which city you're listening from. That way I can see how far my story has traveled." I never thought my own son would break my heart on a Tuesday morning, but there it was, glowing on my phone screen like a tiny bomb. "Don't wait for us at Christmas. We're going to Carol's parents. They matter more than you do." Before that message, my life was ordinary, predictable. I was 68 years old, living alone in the house my late husband Robert and I had bought 40 years ago. Robert had been gone for 3 years, but I'd built a routine. Morning coffee on the porch, volunteering at the library on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Sunday dinners that I'd cook for Brad, my only son, and his wife Carol, whenever they had time, which lately wasn't often. I'd noticed the changes slowly. Brad used to call every few days just to check in. Then it became once a week, then every 2 weeks. When he did call, Carol was always there in the background, and the conversations felt stiff, rehearsed. He'd ask how I was doing, but never waited long enough to hear the real answer. "Mom, we can't make it Sunday," became his favorite phrase. Still, I told myself it was normal. He was 34, building his career in real estate. Carol worked in marketing. They were busy. Young couples needed their space. I remembered being that age, caught between parents and independence. But then came the requests. "Mom, could you help us with the down payment for the new car? Just $15,000. We'll pay you back." I said yes. Robert's life insurance and our savings meant I could afford it. "Mom, Carol's student loans are killing us. Could you help? Maybe $20,000? Again, I said yes. What else was the money for if not to help my child? "Mom, we're renovating the kitchen. The contractor needs $30,000 up front." That time, I hesitated. $55,000 in 6 months seemed like a lot. But Brad's voice had been so strained, so desperate. "We wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate, Mom. Please." So I transferred the money. After that, the calls stopped almost entirely. 3 weeks of silence. Then 4. When I finally reached out, Carol answered Brad's phone. "He's busy, Margaret. He'll call you back." He never did. I started to feel it then, that cold uncertainty in my stomach. The kind you get when you realize something is wrong, but you don't want to admit it. I pushed the feeling down, made excuses. They were busy. They were stressed. They still loved me. Then came Thanksgiving. "We can't make it, Mom. Carol's parents are hosting." "That's fine," I said, swallowing my disappointment. "Maybe we can have our own celebration the next day. We'll see." They never showed up, never called. When I texted Brad, he responded 2 days later with a thumbs up emoji. A thumbs up. To his mother. I spent Thanksgiving alone, reheating a store-bought turkey breast and watching old movies. I told myself it was just one holiday. Christmas would be different. Christmas was always our special time. When Brad was little, we'd stay up until midnight decorating the tree together. Even as an adult, he'd always come home for Christmas. I spent weeks preparing. I bought presents, planned the menu, made his favorite cookies, snickerdoodles with extra cinnamon. I texted him twice to confirm he was coming. "Yeah, Mom, we'll be there." Relief flooded through me. See? I'd been worrying over nothing. Then, Tuesday morning, the message arrived. "Don't wait for us at Christmas. We're going to Carol's parents. They matter more than you do." I read it 3 times, 4 times, 5. They matter more than you do. Not, "We'd rather spend it with them." Not, "We promised Carol's parents." But a direct declaration. You don't matter. I sat at my kitchen table, my coffee growing cold, staring at those words. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight, like someone had wrapped bands around my ribs and was pulling them tighter, tighter. For 20 minutes I stared at my phone. My fingers hovered over the keyboard a dozen times. I wanted to call him, demand an explanation, ask what I'd done wrong. But something stopped me. A memory of Robert near the end, when the cancer had made him brutally honest. "Maggie," he'd said, "people show you who they are. Believe them the first time." Brad had just shown me exactly who he was. I didn't cry. I didn't call. I didn't text back. Instead, I opened my laptop, logged into my bank account, and looked at the list of accounts I'd opened for Brad over the years. The savings account I'd been depositing money into since he was born. The investment account Robert and I had set up for his future. The money market account I'd added to last year. My fingers were steady now. I closed every single one. The numbers on my computer screen blurred together. I had to blink several times before I could see them clearly. $347,000. That was how much I'd saved for Brad over 34 years. Robert and I had started the first account the day Brad was born. $100 a month, every month, no exceptions. Even when money was tight, even when we had to skip our own vacation or drive our car an extra year, we never missed a deposit. "This is for his future," Robert used to say. "College, wedding, house, whatever he needs." I'd continued after Robert died. In fact, I'd increased the deposits. What else did I have to spend money on? Brad was my only child, my only family. And now, with 3 clicks, I'd transferred every penny into a new account, one with only my name on it. My hand moved to the mouse again. The joint account we'd opened 2 years ago, the one Brad had convinced me we needed for emergencies, showed a balance of $83,000. Money I'd deposited over the months for just in case. He had full access to it. I changed the account settings, removing his name. Then I transferred that money too. $430,000, now completely out of his reach. I sat back in my chair, my heart pounding. What had I just done? My phone buzzed. A text from my neighbor, Helen. "Bridge game Thursday? We need a 4th." I ignored it. I couldn't think about bridge games right now. Instead, I opened a spreadsheet and started documenting everything. Every loan, every transfer, every promise of repayment that had never materialized. $15,000 for the car, never mentioned again. $20,000 for student loans, no idea if they were even paid. $30,000 for kitchen renovation. I'd never been invited to see the finished kitchen. $10,000 last April that Brad said was for taxes. $12,000 in June for medical bills Carol supposedly had. $87,000 in 18 months. None of it repaid. None of it even acknowledged. And that didn't include the accounts I'd just closed. That was money he didn't even know he'd lost yet. I felt sick. Not because of the money, I could afford the loss, but because of what it meant. My son had been using me. Systematically, deliberately. How long had this been going on? Had he ever intended to pay me back? Or had I just been a convenient bank account with unlimited funds and no questions asked? I remembered Carol's face at Brad's wedding 5 years ago. She'd been charming that day, calling me Mom and talking about how excited she was to be part of the family. But there'd been a moment, just one, when I'd overheard her talking to her sister. "Brad's loaded, you know. His mom's sitting on Robert's whole estate." At the time, I'd brushed it off. Of course, Brad had told his fiancée about our financial situation. That was normal, wasn't it? Now, the memory felt different. Darker. I stood up, my legs unsteady, and walked to the window. The December sky was gray and heavy. 2 doors down, the Hendersons were already putting up Christmas lights. Christmas. 3 days away? I'd be spending it alone because my son had decided I didn't matter. The hurt hit me then, sharp and sudden. I gripped the windowsill, my breath coming in short gasps. This was my son. The baby I'd held through countless sleepless nights. The child I'd bandaged and comforted and cheered for. The teenager who'd driven me crazy but whom I'd loved fiercely anyway. The man who'd just told me I didn't matter. Tears came finally, hot and angry. I let them fall. I stood at that window and cried for the son I'd lost If he'd ever really been the person I thought he was. When the tears stopped, I felt different. Emptier, but also clearer. I wasn't going to let this destroy me. I wasn't going to be the pathetic mother who kept giving and giving while her child took and took. I'd raised Brad to be better than this. If he'd chosen this path, that was on him. But I would protect myself. I dried my face and returned to my computer. I needed a lawyer, not just any lawyer, someone who specialized in family law and estate planning. I also needed documentation. Every text message, every email, every bank statement showing the transfers. By midnight, I had everything organized in a folder on my desktop. I'd found 3 lawyers who had excellent reviews. I'd written down questions to ask them. I'd even started drafting a new will, because if Brad and Carol thought I was just a helpless old woman they could manipulate, they were about to learn otherwise. My phone buzzed again. This time, I looked. A text from Brad. "See you soon?" I stared at those 3 words. See you soon? After what he'd said? What did that even mean? Then I understood. He didn't know yet. Didn't know I'd closed the accounts. Didn't know I'd moved the money. He thought everything was still the same. I smiled. Just a little. Let him think that. Let him come. I'd be ready. Wednesday morning, I sat in the office of Patricia Thornton, attorney at law. Her office was on the 3rd floor of a renovated building downtown, with large windows overlooking Main Street. Everything about it said competence. The organized shelves, the framed degrees from Georgetown, the way she'd looked me in the eye when she shook my hand. "Mrs. Harrison, tell me everything," she said, opening a yellow legal pad. I did. I walked her through the timeline. The money, the growing distance, the cruel message, the accounts I'd closed. Patricia listened without interrupting, taking notes in quick, precise handwriting. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. "Mrs. Harrison," she finally said, "you did the right thing closing those accounts. But we need to move quickly. If your son has been accessing joint accounts, he may try to empty others before you can protect them." My stomach dropped. "What others? Any account with his name on it? Any credit card where he's an authorized user? Do you have life insurance? Is he listed as a beneficiary?" "Yes, he's the sole beneficiary." Patricia wrote something down. "We need to review your entire estate, today, if possible. I want to see every account, every insurance policy, every asset. Can you get me those documents?" I brought them. I pulled out the thick folder I'd prepared last night. She looked impressed. Efficient. I like that. For the next hour, we went through everything. Patricia's expression grew darker with each page. "Mrs. Harrison, this is financial exploitation. Legally, because you gave him the money willingly, it's difficult to classify as elder abuse, but the pattern is clear. He and his wife have been systematically extracting your assets. Can I get the money back?" "Unlikely. You'd have to prove it was a loan, not a gift, and that's hard without written agreements. But we can prevent future losses. I recommend 3 immediate steps." She counted them on her fingers. "First, change your will. Remove Brad as executor and beneficiary. Choose someone else, a trusted friend, a charity, anyone but him. Second, revoke all powers of attorney if you've granted any. Make sure he has no legal authority over your finances or medical decisions. Third, document everything. Every text, every call, every interaction from this point forward. If he threatens you, harasses you, or tries to coerce you, we need proof." I felt my chest tighten. "He's still my son." "I know." Patricia's voice was gentle now. "This isn't about punishment, Mrs. Harrison. This is about protection. You have the right to keep what's yours. You have the right to be treated with respect. If Brad truly cares about you, he'll understand that eventually. If he doesn't," she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. "There's one more thing," I said quietly. "He texted last night, said, 'See you soon.' I think he's planning to visit." Patricia nodded slowly. He's probably checking his accounts. When he realizes they're closed, he'll come. Be prepared for that conversation, Mrs. Harrison. It won't be pleasant. What should I say? The truth. You're protecting your assets. You're hurt by his behavior. You expect respect. Beyond that, you don't owe him explanations. And Mrs. Harrison? She looked at me seriously. Don't let him into your house if you don't feel safe. Don't meet with him alone. Consider having a friend present. I left Patricia's office with a thick packet of paperwork and a follow-up appointment scheduled for next week. My hands were shaking as I drove home. Was I really doing this? Taking legal action against my own son? But what choice did he leave me? I pulled into my driveway at noon. A familiar car was parked on the street. Brad's BMW. My heart started racing. He was here already. He knew. I sat in my car for a moment, gripping the steering wheel. Through my rearview mirror, I could see him standing on my front porch, hands in his pockets, pacing. I grabbed my phone and texted Helen next door. Brad is here. If you hear shouting, please come over. She responded immediately. I'm watching. Say the word. I took a deep breath and got out of my car. Brad turned at the sound of my door closing. His face was flushed, his jaw tight. Mom, he said, but it wasn't a greeting. It was an accusation. Brad. I walked toward my front door, keys in hand. He blocked my path. What the hell did you do? I don't know what you mean. I kept my voice calm, even though my pulse was hammering. The accounts, Mom, the college fund, the investment account, the savings account, they're all gone. No, I said quietly. They're not gone. I moved them. You moved them? His voice rose. You moved $300,000 without telling me? I didn't need to tell you. It's my money. It's my money! You saved it for me. You said it was for my future. I looked at him then, really looked at him. His face was twisted with anger, but there was something else underneath. Panic, desperation. It was for your future, I said, but your future doesn't include treating me like I don't matter. His expression changed. Just for a second, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Guilt? Shame? But then Carol's voice cut through the air. Brad, did you ask her yet? I turned. Carol was getting out of the passenger seat of the BMW, her designer bag over her shoulder, her expression sharp. She walked up the driveway like she owned it, her heels clicking on the pavement. Margaret, she said, not quite smiling. We need to talk. I didn't invite them inside. We stood there on my front porch, the December wind cutting through our coats. Across the street, I could see Helen's curtains move. She was watching. There's nothing to talk about, I said, trying to unlock my door. Carol stepped closer, blocking me again. Actually, there is. You just stole $300,000 from your son. I didn't steal anything. That money was always mine. You promised it to him. Carol's voice was sharp now, the pleasant mask slipping. You told him it was his college fund, his inheritance. You can't just take it back. I can, and I did. Brad grabbed my arm, not hard, but firmly enough that I stopped moving. Mom, what's going on with you? This isn't like you. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. Let go of me. Not until you explain. Let go. Now. Something in my voice made him release me. I stepped back, putting distance between us. You want an explanation? Fine. I'm tired of being used. I'm tired of giving and giving while you take everything and offer nothing in return. Not even basic respect. We haven't used you, Carol started. $87,000 in 18 months, I interrupted. Car, student loans, kitchen renovation, taxes, medical bills. Should I continue? How much of that have you paid back? They were quiet. That's what I thought. I crossed my arms. And then you send me a message saying Carol's parents matter more than I do, on Christmas. So yes, Carol, I moved my money into accounts where only I can access it, because apparently I can't trust my own son. Brad's face went through several expressions: anger, confusion, then calculation. Mom, you're upset. I understand. That message was harsh. I apologize. But closing the accounts? That's extreme. Let's go inside and talk about this like adults. No. No? I said no. You're not coming into my house, not today. Carol's eyes narrowed. You're being ridiculous, Margaret. We're family. Family doesn't treat each other the way you've treated me. Oh, please, Carol snapped. You've been playing the victim for months. Poor me, my son is too busy. Nobody loves me. Do you know how exhausting it is? Brad calls you every week. He called once in the last 6 weeks. Once. Because you guilt trip him every time. You make him feel terrible for having his own life. My hands were shaking now, but from anger, not fear. Get off my property! Mom! Brad tried again. I said, get off my property, both of you. Fine. Carol grabbed Brad's arm. You want to play it this way? Fine. But you'll regret this, Margaret. That money should be Brad's. We need it. Why? I asked. Why do you need it so desperately? They both froze. What debts are you really in? I pressed. Because this isn't about student loans or renovations, is it? What did you do with all that money? Carol's face went pale. Brad looked away. And suddenly, I knew. There was something bigger here. Something they hadn't told me. Get out, I said quietly. And don't come back until you're ready to tell me the truth. The whole truth. Carol turned and stalked toward the car. Brad lingered, his expression conflicted. Mom, please, just give us a chance to explain. Brad, if you really want to explain, you know where to find me. But not today. Not like this. I need time. He nodded slowly, then followed Carol to the car. I watched them drive away, Brad at the wheel, Carol's profile rigid with anger. Only when their car disappeared around the corner did my legs start to shake. I fumbled with my keys, finally got the door open, and stumbled inside. I locked the door behind me. Then I slid down to the floor, my back against the wood, and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. My phone buzzed. Helen, you okay? Want me to come over? I texted back, I'm okay, thank you for watching. But I wasn't okay. Not really. I'd just turned my son away from my door. I'd confronted him about money and lies and manipulation. I'd seen the real panic in Carol's eyes when I'd asked about their debts. What had they gotten themselves into? And more importantly, what would they do next? The next few days passed in a strange, hollow quiet. I didn't hear from Brad. Didn't hear from Carol. My phone stayed silent except for concerned messages from Helen and a few friends from the library. I spent Thursday morning meeting with Patricia again, signing the new will that left everything to a mix of charities and my late husband's sister, Aunt Jean. Brad was mentioned only to explicitly exclude him from inheriting anything. This takes effect immediately, Patricia explained, and I'm filing it with the county clerk today. I nodded, my pen hovering over the signature line. This was it, the final step, the ultimate declaration that I would not be manipulated anymore. I signed. Friday, I didn't get out of bed until noon. The weight of everything pressed down on me. I'd stood up for myself, yes. I'd protected my assets, but I'd also severed something with my son. Something that might never be repaired. Saturday, Helen insisted I come over for dinner. I didn't want to, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. You need food and you need company, she said firmly. 7 o'clock. Don't make me come drag you over. I went. Her husband Tom made lasagna, and we sat in their warm kitchen talking about anything except Brad. It was exactly what I needed. Sunday morning, I woke up feeling different, stronger. The hurt was still there, but underneath it was something solid, something that felt like resolve. I'd done the right thing. Whatever happened next, I'd protected myself, and I wouldn't apologize.